got to keep the core safe no matter what. There's no time to argue, Jewel.
Hey parents, Carmine here with your video review of ReCore.
Bring me that core!
If you're only concerned about the mature content for ReCore, I can sum it up fairly quickly and easily. The only mature content in ReCore is violence, and that takes the form of firing colored lasers at correspondingly colored robots. There is no blood at all, and even the violence is broken up by platforming and navigation-based puzzles. As a result, we gave this game a recommended age of 8 years old. However, that being said, I do have some other points to bring up. I would not recommend that you purchase this game. Excluding the last set of levels, this is an exploration-heavy platforming game. If you don't have the patience to get the collectibles in games like Assassin's Creed, you won't have the patience to finish this game. And even then, this game really wears out its welcome. The thing is that there were some really interesting possibilities for this game. There were hints of genius that I saw on both a gameplay level and especially on a story level. This game could have been an interesting modern version of I Am Legend. Imagine a scenario where you are the last human alive on a desert planet, surrounded by hostile and seemingly monstrous robots. You spend the game trying to terraform the planet and save humanity, only to find out that all of your fellow humans are long dead, and that you are the aberration on the planet. You are the mass murderer killing robots who are the new dominant species. They're hostile to you because they fear you. You are the monster. You are the thing that goes bump in the night, the Freddy Krueger haunting robot children's dreams, the legendary beast that wanders the deserts claiming any unfortunate soul that happens to get too close. And for all I know, that was the original idea behind this game. I didn't work on this title and don't know anyone who did, so I won't get a chance to ask what happened to this game's story and why so many critical questions went completely unanswered. But what I do have is a working knowledge of the gaming industry and why certain decisions get made. And it is my belief that ReCore was doomed before it ever entered production. Making a good game is a lot more difficult than it seems. You have to get the right team of developers, give them the right leaders, give the leaders the right vision, and give that vision enough time and money to bake itself into something great, market it properly, and then release it to the masses. If a game is marred by bugs or poor PR, it'll tank. If a game isn't released at the right time or uses an idea that's considered stale, it'll tank. If a game doesn't have enough marketing or doesn't have effective enough marketing, it'll get lost in the shuffle and tank. Even if a game is released at the right time, has the great idea, is marketed well, and sells well, if the cost of producing that game outweigh the game's sales, it's a failure. Heck, even if the game sells well and makes money, but it doesn't make the arbitrary sales goals placed on it by business guys in suits, most of whom have no clue what goes into production and distribution of a video game, it'll be seen as a failure. And while this is pure speculation on my part, I believe that ReCore was a victim of too much focus on everything except making a good game. Big publishers like Microsoft tend to have a very heavy hand in the development process, especially when they're working with a development team they don't own. It's a horrible snowballing effect. Publishers who don't have the connections to the game, don't know the strengths and weaknesses of the development team, don't see the entire game in context, instead only seeing the game through demos and vertical slices, are given the greatest weight in feedback and the most power in the decision-making process. Sometimes their decisions are fine, but all too frequently their feedback is completely counter to what makes the game fun or functional, or what the game actually needs, which makes for a more problematic development. When things start going up in flames, the publisher gets more concerned about their investment, and as a result becomes more dictatorial, which only hurts more. And that continues until the game gets released to an average Metacritic rating of 55, and a lot of people lose their jobs. And ReCore had a lot riding on it, especially for a new IP. It started development in early 2014, just a few months after the Xbox One was launched, a time when the console was suffering from some fairly terrible PR, and when its development tools were a hindrance to development rather than a help. It was the first Microsoft game to feature Microsoft's Play Anywhere initiative, meaning that it had to be released for both the PC and the Xbox One, and from what I've understood, the launches for both platforms had to be simultaneous. These types of restrictions are a huge focus for the publisher, and as a result, must be the highest priority for the development team. It's more important that the game make the console look good than the game actually be fun or play well. This doesn't explain all of ReCore's problems, especially the show-stopping restrictions to reach the endgame, and the horribly cheesy ending cutscene that doesn't even attempt to tie off any loose ends. But I believe it explains much of why the game was so lackluster. Unfortunately, I believe this will be another one of those cases where the development team takes the fall they don't deserve, and the people really responsible for the failure just get put onto other projects to repeat the cycle all over again. The poll for next month's user-picked games is up on Patreon, so click the link in the description if you want a hand in deciding that. Up next is Far Cry Primal, Team Fortress 2, and Mafia 3, so keep an eye out for those coming very soon.